I used to think silence was safer than words, that if I just kept my feelings tucked away, nothing could break. But silence, true silence, isn't peaceful. It's lonely, especially between a father and daughter. For years, my dad and I lived like shadows brushing past each other. We shared the same house, the same roof, the same ache, but never the same words. After Mom passed, I thought the sorrow would bring us together. It didn't. It only pulled us deeper into our separate grief. Like two ships lost in the same storm, just sailing past one another in the dark. But something shifted one quiet spring morning. It wasn't planned. I just looked up from my tea and asked, "Dad, do you want to get away this weekend?" There was a pause just long enough to feel heavy. Then he nodded. "Sure," he said. Just that. Simple. But I swear, something unspoken moved between us in that moment. We didn't choose a place with meaning. Not on purpose, anyway. Just a quiet coastal town. Somewhere the sea might say what we couldn't. We each packed one bag. No plans. No expectations. Just the unspoken hope that maybe the wind and waves could carry us somewhere better. The drive there was mostly quiet. I watched sunlight slide through tree branches. Dad made soft remarks about the hills, the sky. I answered with nods and the occasional smile. It wasn't much, but it was more than before. And then we reached the edge of the beach town. It was like stepping into someone else's dream. The dunes opened wide like arms, and the sea shimmered like it knew me. The scent of salt and something sweet, maybe wildflowers, wrapped around me. For the first time in years, my chest felt just a little lighter. We walked onto the sand without speaking. The breeze brushed against my face like an old lullaby. I turned to Dad, expecting the same old quiet, but something had changed. There was a flicker of peace in his eyes. A soft smile, like one he hadn't used in a long time. We didn't say anything. We just stood there, side by side, letting the waves roll in and out. Somehow, that silence felt different. It didn't hurt. That afternoon, we walked the shoreline together. Shoes in hand, pants rolled up just like when I was a kid. The waves chased our toes. Dad pointed at pieces of driftwood and crooked shells. I found myself laughing at one of his stories, really laughing. I hadn't done that with him in, I couldn't remember how long. And just like that, memories rose with the tide. Mom's voice calling to me from the porch. Dad hoisting me onto his shoulders at beach bonfires. My small hands gripping his shirt, sand between my toes. As the sun dipped low, the sky turned golden and soft, like a painting only we could see. We found a weathered log and sat down. The sea hummed quietly. The sky glowed. And then he reached for my hand. That small, familiar gesture broke me. His hand, aged and strong, still felt the same. It was the same hand that held mine crossing streets. The same one that passed me popcorn at carnivals. That taught me to balance on a bike. That caught me when I fell. I squeezed back. Not with words. Just with feeling. That night, we built a fire on the sand. The flames cracked and snapped like laughter. We roasted marshmallows, let the sparks rise into the black sky like tiny stars. I told him about work, my doubts, my dreams I never dared speak aloud before. He listened, not just with his ears, but with something deeper, with all of him. And then, to my surprise, he shared too. His youth, his mistakes, things I never imagined he'd open up about. The fire lit our faces, but something else lit the space between us. Something warm and long missing. The next morning I woke early. The sky was a soft mix of peach and pale blue, still hushed with dawn. Dad was already up, sitting quietly by the rocks, wrapped in a blanket, staring out at the sea like it was telling him secrets. I sat beside him. We didn't talk, just watched the sun rise. It felt like a promise. Later, we wandered through the town's market. It was full of color and scent, lavender bundles, sun-dried herbs, glass trinkets that sparkled like sea light. I bought a necklace made of sea glass. When I asked him what he thought, he looked at me and said, "It's beautiful, just like you." It wasn't something he said often. But that moment, it held something true. It reminded me of who he used to be. The father who made me believe the sun rose just to see me smile. That afternoon, we sat on a bench overlooking the harbor. I don't know where the courage came from, but I whispered, "I missed you. I missed us." He turned to me, eyes full. "I missed you too, Lena. And I'm sorry for all the time I didn't know how to be there." He took my hand again, and we sat there in the soft, golden light, silent, but no longer broken. And then something unexpected. That evening, back on the beach, as the sky turned shades of lavender and rose, he reached into his coat and pulled out a small notebook. Hand-stitched, the corners worn. Inside was a letter, folded neatly. He handed it to me, almost shyly. His handwriting was careful, deliberate. "My dearest Lena, from the moment you held my hand as a child to the woman you are now, I've watched you with awe. Your laughter, your resilience, your heart, they've always been the best parts of my life. I haven't always known how to show it. But please know this. I'm proud of you. So deeply proud. Words will never be enough." I couldn't hold back the tears. The page blurred before I finished reading. "This means everything," I said. He didn't reply at first. Just held my gaze, steady and soft. "You don't have to say anything," he whispered. "I just wanted you to know." That night, back in the cabin, rain tapped gently on the windows. We curled up by the fireplace, wrapped in blankets. We talked. We laughed. Not like strangers. Not like ghosts. But like family. And for the first time in years, I felt something like peace. Not because everything was fixed, but because we found each other again. Because we had stopped drifting. The next morning, as we drove home, the world outside passed in blurs of green and gold. I looked at him in the rearview mirror. He caught my gaze and smiled. "Thank you," he said. I smiled back. "Thank you for coming with me." And as the road stretched ahead like a ribbon of light, I knew we had started something we wouldn't let go of. Not this time. We weren't just father and daughter. We were two souls learning how to love again.